in, and thank you for joining us for Candid Conversations with Christen. I am your host, Christen Hyde. Thank you for joining us for this brand new podcast I am starting, where I check the pulse of the city of Thomasville and surrounding areas. For my first guest, I have Miss Barbara Hudson, who is running for Thomasville City Council District 4 in the 2025 municipal election that is happening on Tuesday, August 26th. So, thank you for joining us, Miss Barbara.
Thank you so much, Christen, for having me.
Well, I just want to jump right in and ask you a couple of questions just to get a little background information about you out to the public. So, what first motivated you to want to get into politics and run for city council?
Well, that conversation could take a really long time, so I will just be brief and say that my initial introduction to politics began at the age of 12 when we were boycotting in the city of Thomasville. I saw my parents and all of the wonderful, wonderful civic leaders that we had in the past upset and concerned and frustrated. And I heard their complaints, but they did not stop with just complaining. They unified. They gained information on what activities were bringing success in other communities. And they took those ideas and they prayed and unified and worked together. And we did successfully change the city for eternity, I would say.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit about your experience, because this is not your first time working with the city or wanting to, inspire change in the area.
I started participating in city government as a volunteer under Councilman Allen's tenure about 20 years ago, and I served on different committees, zoning, those types of things. So I started to gain knowledge on how policies and things were developed at the municipal level, and then later I approached Mayor Day regarding some issues in District 4 and some of the other underserved communities, and he and Miss Alberta Dixon, who was a councilwoman at the time, were instrumental in helping us create a community development corporation. And that organization, I served on the executive board, and we were able to, foster programs and create programs, create networks that allowed us to address issues like food deserts, workforce development, economic development, financial literacy that would allow us to start trying to participate in home ownership and home repair programs. In order to participate in some of those programs, your credit was an issue, so we were able to facilitate those programs. We also created the first computer lab, and we created that initially in the downtown area, and we recognized that we wanted to have something in the District 4 community, so we moved into that community, and it was received really well in our community.
Gotcha. So, talk a little bit about your profession and how you have always been like a lifelong person that serves the community as far as your profession is concerned.
Well, healthcare is my passion, and I always say to people, I learned this a long time ago, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I can have a lot of professional knowledge, but if I don't care about the person as a person, then I'm not going to be successful in my profession or in any other endeavors. So for years, I've worked in rural health. I'm a country girl. I love the country life. And I saw that we were kind of penalized for being rural Americans, and I just took issue with that. So I became very committed to providing rural health care in areas that were underserved, whether it was home health, educational systems, skilled nursing facilities, outpatient clinics, and acute hospital settings. So that allowed me to see a lot of needs and address a lot of problems that I saw individually and in different communities.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about, you've been canvassing out and talking to people in your district. So tell me a little bit about their concerns and how do you plan to address those and solve those?
Well, the one thing that really stood out to me was the passion and the visions and dreams of our young adults here in Thomasville. They are very, very interested in being productive citizens. Some of them want to start their own businesses. Some of them want just to have an adequate professional education that will allow them to work in skilled labor forces and gain wealth for their family, own a home, and create generational wealth long term. So I see the potential business owners wanting just a space to house their businesses and needing a little bit more training and guidance on how to successfully run and manage a business. So I do think that we would like to work with the chamber, work with some of the existing businesses, work with the Small Business Association, and possibly even the library to help those potential business owners and the potential workforce training programs to come into fruition. Those programs are very doable. It does not take a long term. I like the fast track. You can train anyone to do pretty much any type of skilled labor in a matter of months. So there are fast track programs that we could look into, and I've been studying and investigating those programs. We have a couple of nonprofits that we are very familiar with who have those types of programs, and they would be happy to facilitate bringing some of those programs into our communities.
Gotcha. So, another big thing in the community is, the Highway 43 expansion project and how that will be affecting our area as far as traffic and, the more people that will bring into the area. So what do you want to do to, kind of address those issues?
Well, I'm so excited about the possibilities. They're endless in terms of ways that we can grow our economy. We can enhance so many avenues of our lives as this expansion unfolds and once it's in place. But we have to work in a proactive way to problem solve before the actual project is completed. One of the big things that I began a discussion with city officials about approximately 2 years ago is the traffic flow concerns that we already have on 43, and they're just going to get exponentially worse as the population grows, the traffic flow grows during the expansion, and that is the traffic flow and citizens, especially senior citizens, being able to access goods and services on 43, going to the grocery store, going to the pharmacy, and those types of things, and they're very nervous and they don't feel safe doing those things. So one of the things that I approached the city about doing was creating a frontage road on the west side of 43, and I think it's really very doable. So I also look at things like the turning lanes and those types of things and the streets that intersect with 43 and how bottlenecking and that sort of thing will slow down the traffic. I've done the research or started the research. The U.S. Department of Transportation has special funds and special programs set aside for rural highway expansion projects. The rural highway expansion projects funding is in place. It provides an economic component to help the businesses create better avenues to engage with the oncoming onslaught of population. It also has revenue and training and engineers who will come down and assess our streets and look at some possible changes and modifications that we could make to those streets in order to create a safer passageway for our local traffic while engaging with the increased traffic flow as well.
Those all seem like great ideas, and I know that District 4 does include portions of
Yes.
Highway 43, so those ideas are so important for the area.
Right.
So District 4 residents are the ones that will be picking their candidate. So where will be their voting locations?
The voting location has been modified and changed. We will be voting at the Civic Center downtown in Thomasville on the 26th of August from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We normally vote for non-municipal elections down at Coastal Community College, but I received notification last weekend that has changed. So we need to bear that in mind.
So, if people want to get in contact with you and, share concerns or learn more about you, what is one way or some ways that they can do that?
Well, of course, you can reach me by phone, 334-830-3476. I also have a Gmail account as a candidate for Hudson for City Council at gmail.com.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Hudson. Is there anything else you would like to add to the conversation to let the public know, anything else that we did not touch on?
I just want us to realize that we have a huge opportunity to create a new environment, to create a new system of activities, to create new government and policies that we want. And I hope this whole campaigning process has gotten everyone excited. It has spurred a lot of excitement in me, and it has started me to dream bigger, because we are at that pivotal moment where the choices we make now will impact us for years to come. So I want you to create the dreams in your head, and then I want you to decide what your role in this process can be or should be, because we all have unique qualities and attributes and gifts from God He wants us to use to be instruments of change. So yours might be joining a committee at the city level. Yours might be formulating that group of citizens in your couple of blocks that work together to come up with a plan to change your particular neighborhood. Yours might be volunteering in the school system. So please start to think and pray about how God wants to use you. And I want us to be prepared to vote. And then I want us to be prepared to go to work so that we are not just sitting and complaining and passing time. We want to work hard, pray hard, and pass policies that will change this into the great city that it can be for us and for generations to come. Thank you all so much. God bless you.
And thank you for joining us for Candid Conversations with Christen. And thank you, Miss Barbara, for coming to talk with me. And we'll see y'all guys later. Thank you.